Hey, welcome. Today we are diving into something that is, no joke, an absolute game changer for any business. Figuring out what it really costs to make your product or deliver your service. And trust me, getting this right is way more than just an accounting chore. It can literally reshape your entire strategy. To really see why this is so important, let's kick things off with a simple story.
So to get our heads around this, just picture this coffee shop. You've got two drinks, both in a medium cup, so they look kind of the same on the menu. One is a straightforward black coffee, super simple, super fast to make. The other, it's a fancy caramel macchiato that needs a trained barista, a bunch of different ingredients, and some serious skill to get that foam art just right. And yet, they both cost you the exact same amount.
And this just nails the problem, doesn't it? That black coffee uses barely any resources, just hot water and coffee grounds. But the macchiato, well, that's a whole different story. You've got steamed milk, caramel sauce, espresso, plus all the barista's time and effort. The two processes are just worlds apart, but the price tag, identical. It just feels wrong, right? I mean, how can that possibly be an accurate reflection of what it costs to make each of those drinks? Well, believe it or not, in the business world, this kind of thing happens all the time. And the culprit behind this whole mess? It's got a name: traditional costing. For years and years, it was the standard way businesses did things. But honestly, in today's world, it often paints a very, very misleading picture. So what exactly is it? Well, traditional costing takes all those indirect costs, things like rent, electricity, manager's salaries, all that stuff we call overhead, and it throws them all into one giant pot. Then, it just spreads that cost evenly across every single product using one simple measure, like how many hours someone worked on it. Seriously, just think of it like spreading peanut butter on bread. Every single part of the bread gets the same amount, no matter what. And this peanut butter spreading approach leads to a massive problem called product cost cross-subsidization. Back in our coffee shop, it means the simple black coffee is getting way too much of the overhead cost piled onto it, making it seem way more expensive to make than it really is. And meanwhile, that complicated macchiato, it's getting a total free ride, looking a lot cheaper than it actually is. The simple product is basically paying for the complex one. So, okay, if the old way is so broken, what's the solution? Well, this brings us to a much smarter, much more precise method: activity-based costing, or ABC for short. The idea behind ABC is actually super intuitive when you think about it. It says, hey, it's not really the products themselves that cost money. It's the activities you have to do to make them. And those activities are what use up resources like people's time, materials, and electricity. ABC just follows that chain to find out where the money is really going. Okay, so how does ABC manage to trace all these costs so darn accurately? Let's pop the hood and take a look at how it works. It all follows a pretty clear 5-step process. First up, you figure out all the key activities that happen in your business. Things like setting up a machine, doing a quality inspection, or processing a customer order. Then you lump all the costs related to each of those activities into their own cost pools. Next, and this is crucial, you find the specific cost driver for each pool. From there, you can calculate a unique cost rate for every single activity. And finally, you assign those costs to your products based on how much of each activity they actually, used.
And that brings us to this idea of a cost driver, which is really the secret sauce of the whole system. A cost driver is basically the root cause of a cost. So for the activity of setting up machines, the cost driver isn't just time, it's the number of setups you do. For quality control, it's the number of inspections. This creates that critical cause and effect link that traditional costing just completely ignores. ABC even organizes these activities into different levels to get super precise. You've got unit-level activities, which are things you do for every single item, like putting a part into a machine. Then there are batch-level activities, which you do once for a whole group of products, like setting up that machine in the first place. Above that, you have product-level activities that support a whole product line, like the initial design work. And finally, there are facility-sustaining costs, like rent and security, that aren't really tied to any product, so they're kept separate. All right, enough theory. Let's get to the good part, the payoff. This is where it all clicks, that big aha moment when you finally see the real numbers. So let's take a cabinet maker. Using the old traditional method, they spread all their overhead based on machine hours. So what happens? Their high-volume, simple standard cabinets look like they cost $150 a piece. But the complex, low-volume custom cabinets, they look like a steal at just $120. Based on these numbers, you'd think the custom jobs are where all the profit is. But now, let's flip the switch to ABC.
we start tracking the actual activities. It turns out those custom cabinets needed a ton of extra design hours and way more machine setups. And when you assign those costs properly, the entire picture flips on its head. The true cost of a standard cabinet is only $90, while that cheap custom cabinet is actually costing a whopping $210. I mean, that is the power of ABC right there.
And getting these numbers right changes, well, everything. With the old data, you'd underprice your complex products, probably losing money on every single sale, while at the same time overpricing your simple ones and wondering why competitors are eating your lunch. With ABC, you can price everything with confidence, invest in the product lines that are actually profitable, and get a crystal clear view of where your money is really coming from.
Now, as powerful as all this sounds, ABC isn't a magic wand. It's really important to have a clear-eyed view of its challenges, and also to see where this whole world of costing is heading next.
So let's be real for a second. Putting an ABC system in place can be tough. It can be expensive and super time-consuming. Figuring out all the right activities and their drivers takes a ton of work, and sometimes you have to make some subjective judgment calls. And honestly, if you don't use all this detailed new data carefully, it can still lead you to the wrong conclusions.
If you look at the big picture, you can see this clear evolution. We started with the super simple, broad stroke approach of traditional costing way back when. Then, in the 80s, ABC came along and brought this incredible new level of precision. And that brings us to today, where we're on the edge of the next big leap: AI-based costing. We're talking about machine learning models that can actually learn cost behaviors on their own from the data, promising even more accuracy with way less manual work. And all of this brings us to one final, really important thought. It doesn't matter if you're running a massive global company or that little coffee shop we talked about. Knowing your true costs is everything. It really leaves us with a powerful question to chew on. How many strategic mistakes hiding in plain sight in your business are secretly being caused by simple, outdated cost distortions? And just what could you achieve if you could finally see the numbers clearly?